Hi, welcome to Knits Up. I'm Mindy, your hostess, otherwise known as Knitter CNY. You can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram and on Facebook as Knitter CNY or Knits Up Podcast. Look for both of those, you'll find me. I'm not sure if this is going to get uploaded into iTunes or not. We'll try and see if that works maybe this week if I do a short enough podcast. Couple of the finished objects that I knitted on are not available to be seen, but I'll do a projects page for those. You can look for them, and they're called kids hats or something along those lines. I had a friend whose mom had tried to knit some hats for her grandkids for Christmas, some messy bun or ponytail hats, and it didn't quite work out, so she sent me the yarn and the needles. Last weekend I thought I was done with them, tried them on my 7-year-old goddaughter and also on her mom. Both of them were huge, weren't going to work. So we went back and found an actual Bernat chunky pattern for a kid size ponytail messy bun hat, and then I MacGyvered the other one, the other style that has a ponytail hole in the back. The Bernat had a ponytail hole in the top. So anyways, you can look at the pictures of those. I did take pictures before I sent them off in the post office today to her. I have another finished object. This one got sewn up. Actual knitting's been done for a while, but I sewed it up last night or this morning, and it's this. It is a 2-cable Lion Brand homespun sweater pullover for myself, and it fits, it looks good, but it's kind of warm out today, so I'm not going to wear it. The color name is Wisteria. It's not this striped in real life, but Wisteria is a discontinued color. It was at Ollie's for I think $2.29 a skein a couple of years ago. I picked up enough that I could finish this sweater in my size, and it only took 5 skeins of homespun. The only modification I made was to pick up stitches here and knit the sleeves down. Here's a pro tip. If you're picking up stitches here, after you've picked up the stitches around the armhole, the first row that you knit after that, knit into the back of every single stitch. It will sort of cinch up your knitting. I don't know how clearly you can see that, but it does cinch it up a little bit, so you won't get as many, as much of a holey look. Sock knitters will usually do that if they have a heel flap, and then they're picking up stitches along the side, each side of the heel flap, and making gussets. So you'll kind of see that. The other thing that I worked on a tiny bit this week, tiny as in not very much, is this blanket. It's out of maybe Karen Cakes. It's been so long I can't even remember. It's out of Karen Cakes. One is like cinnamon roll, and the other one's fall something or other, banana split. I don't really know. I bought them both on sale for like $3 a piece at Michael's a few months ago, obviously last fall. It's very 70s Riffic colors, and I have this much left of the second cake, so hopefully I'll get that done soon. It's just the all-for-one comfort blanket pattern from Bernat, I believe, and I'll link to that. You can find it on my projects page on Ravelry. I've made a couple other blankets that way, just out of 2 cakes. When you make it out of 2 cakes, it's not a full-size blanket. It makes almost a lapgan or a toddler-sized blanket. It would be a good thing. I was making them for the nursing home. That was my thought, was they're skinny enough that they fit over between the legs of the wheelchair, and they're not long, and they're long enough that you could use them like a shawl too. So That's what I'm using it for. The other thing that I haven't been working on, but I will go back to working on this week, is the Marley Bird Tournament of Stitches pattern. I gotta show the right side. It's one of those clue patterns where you get one clue per week. You started down here, you go up here, you do more of that, you do more of that, more of that. This is, I think, week 3's clue or something like that. And I'm about halfway through this mosaic stitch. The background color in here, believe it or not, is the same, but the non-dominant color changed. You do 4 sections of that. The main yarn that I'm using is Lion Brand Amazing, which I don't know if that is still out there or not, but the color is called Violets. I have 5 balls of that. I'm also using an old Peyton's SWS in black that I had around. I'm using Patton's Classic Wool Worsted in fuchsia, I think is the bright pink, and then the darker pink is, the maroon is called Cognac Heather. This is just stuff that I've collected over the years and I just have around the house, so I'm going to be using that on this. I don't know that I want to continue all of the sections after this. I may just, you know, go back and do garter stitch, but I think there's like one more section maybe, and then there's an I-cord bind off, which I don't necessarily know that I want to do an I-cord bind off, but I might. So I'd say I'm like about 50 to 60% of the way through this. I think the contest has actually ended, or, you know, the clues have ended. They're starting on knitting a sweater now. Marley Bird, if you don't know, is the national spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns. She also has her own website designing that sort of thing. She started in crochet, but she also does knit. She has a team that works with her. And she does a lot of videos. She has a Facebook group called Marley's Minions, which is a group you have to be invited to, but go check that out. She posts a lot of free patterns. She does have other patterns that are available for purchase. So that's about it, other than my t-shirt, which is, I'm not going to show you the whole thing because I don't want to stand up. I will knit on a boat. I will knit with a goat. And it goes through a whole bunch of lines. A friend of mine bought this for me for Christmas. Minuet Knitter, who's also on Ravelry. She is a friend of mine. And she's been on the podcast at least once before. We did a short interview segment with her more than a few years ago when she was talking about a blanket that she had made. So go check that out. Hopefully this video will be short enough that I can upload it. Have a great week. I hope you show me what you're knitting on. Go post in the groups go post in the Knits Up podcast group over on Ravelry. And remember, knits up. Let's go.